All right. Hi, I'm Marijke and I'm from the Netherlands. And basically, I am very disappointed with the sexual education that I got back there. The only thing really that I can remember is that we were testing how much water we could fit in a condom before it broke, and also how you put a condom on a cucumber, and then this little text about the fact that there are STIs and that you can get them. And further than that, there was not really anything. And well, looking back, I can confidently say that that was definitely not enough. So I am wondering how other people from my generation have experienced their sexual education. So are they just as disappointed as me, or are they actually satisfied with the education that they got? And by shining a light on this, I would love to see how people of our generation, my peers, my students, are equipped or were equipped to enter like the sexual world. And then regarding like the practical side of things, I think we should do it in a participatory mode. So kind of me or someone else saying like, hey, I don't think I got proper sexual education. Let's see how my peers think of it, and then just going on this journey of finding out other opinions. And I have two main reasons why I think it should be participatory. First of all, I think by making yourself, so the documentary, vulnerable, you would invite other people to be more vulnerable and open as well. And I think with regard to this topic, that could be a really good thing. And then the second reason is that by making it participatory, the documentary itself will be like a conversation, and that in itself will challenge stigmas about communicating or about sexual health issues. So regarding the ethical considerations, I think the most important thing should be that our participants are as comfortable as possible. So that would first of all mean that no one is getting pressured into doing an interview. They are doing it fully on their own will, and then during the interview, they should be able to say whenever they are uncomfortable or whenever they want to stop the interview. And then after the interview, they should also always be able to notify us about anything that they said that they are now uncomfortable with sharing. Just because it's a vulnerable topic, I want to make sure everyone feels safe. And secondly, I think it is important to try and use as inclusive language as possible. So that means not excluding the LGBTQ+ community, and also being aware of the fact that everyone has different needs and experiences. So all in all, I think everyone can kind of relate to this subject in some way, and that is why it would be very interesting to watch for people, and also maybe revealing. And I kind of hope that people will relate and understand certain issues around sexual health better, and also understand more, get a better understanding about the fact that we all come from very different backgrounds regarding knowledge about sexuality and sexual health, and we come from very different views, and that's also probably why we might not always be able to communicate with each other around this topic. And lastly, I kind of hope that people will start advocating a bit more about their needs for a sexual education, and about the fact that we would maybe have to change some things for the future and our future generation.
It was like 2 hours one afternoon. That was it. It's kind of, this is our yearly sex ed lesson. Okay, let's move on. See you in a year. Hopefully you haven't forgotten everything by then. That was kind of the deal.
There wasn't any.
No.
Nope. The sister, we were taught, and she just said to us, don't have sex until you're married. Abstain from sex, it's a sin, pretty much. And we were kind of looking at each other like, we knew it, but we were just like, oh wow, like that's our sex talk. Just don't have sex. And you're 16, sitting in a classroom.
just like the sexual organs and everything, but not like the social aspects or fears or practical issues you could experience.
It's not even answering the questions that I personally have about what sex is, what sex means, how to practice safe sex. So I felt a little underserved in that way.
There was one sexual health educator, she brought in like a really big, it was essentially a wooden dildo, but she called it Woody, and she used it to demonstrate how to properly put on a condom. And this was in grade 8, so we were, 13, 14, we were dying laughing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the lesson where we put the condom over the banana. Obviously, everyone I think remembers that. But otherwise, there was not a lot of information that stuck.
And we all the girls had to stand in a line, and I'll call her our instructor, she came down the line and she's like, I want you to yell no at me as firmly as you can. So there we were all like standing in a line, like kind of like nervous, being, oh my gosh, like are we really about to yell at this girl and say no?
The only time sex was ever talked about was when in my final year of high school by our biology teacher. And during our reproductive unit, he would like, after class, he'd pull us boys aside and be like, hey, technically I can't tell you this, but don't be idiots, wear condoms, if you're having sex, stay safe, get tested, like just be safe. And that was like our sex education. It was unofficial, after class, after school.
So there was a big emphasis on consent and safe sex as well, use a condom, different types of contraceptive methods, birth control and that kind of things.
Because also with the contraceptives, we talked about it, but they didn't tell you what bad influences it could have on the woman's body. So that was only when I just was in the situation myself that I experienced all the bad, like hormones and mood swings.
Honestly, I think a session that was maybe more directed by the students and was led by their questions and what they were curious about would have been far more beneficial.
I think the one thing that was missing was definitely discussion of non-heterosexual sex. That was not a thing from what I remember whatsoever. Being part of the LGBT community myself, I think I would have had a lot of benefit from that kind of education if I had known about it earlier instead of having to do research myself.
What would I say to my high school? Don't be afraid of kids having sex. It happens. We're all going through puberty, so don't be afraid of it.